So here's my favorite homebrew question. Does this hobby save you money? Um, for your best answer, yes and no. So what does that even mean? Um, with all of your equipment and all of your, this is the negative side first. With all your equipment and your time factored in, you are losing money for sure. That's all there is to it. So that's even with being like the most cost savvy way to brew. Talking about plastic fermenters, a plastic mash tun made from like a cooler from Home Depot sort of thing, um, and a nice little kettle, but not too fancy. You are still going to lose money because of all the time factored in. Okay, but with the labor of love behind it, and then being able to create whatever style you want and put anything you want into it, and then if that's what you really enjoy, then you're gonna doesn't really matter. Um, there's a lot that goes into that, of course, and then once you pay for your equipment once and you take care of it, it can last for a long time, so you won't be spending much money on that all the time. So it's not like a constant purchase of new equipment. There's always better ways to get things done, so that depends on that. However, with the average usage of your homebrew equipment and keeping it nice and clean, and then factoring in your time, you're still losing a little bit of money. Now, ingredients though versus the purchase of the beer, um, that will save you money. So, for instance, for a beer that costs me between 35 and $40, it's probably $120 worth of craft beer from the store off the shelf. Um, Same goes for like a $45, $50 um, ingredient purchase. That this all gets you 5 gallons, by the way. Um, that'll be about $144 worth of craft beer off the shelf. So the difference being between 35 and $40 for ingredients, we're looking at probably like just a normal pale ale, easy stout, nothing crazy to it, like it's not barrel aged, nothing like that. Now, let's say you want to brew like a Belgian quad. There's a lot more grain into that, a little more hops, so you're going to be in the more 144 range. So think about your $12, $15 four pack sort of thing. So it all varies. So yes, you're saving money there. And what I do when I'm brewing is I make sure my time is super efficient. So as I'm brewing, as I'm mashing, I'm doing things around the house that I need to get done anyway, hanging out with the kids, sort of thing. Maybe I'm watching football, Um, so when that's all factored in, maybe you are saving money. So because your time in the weekend is what you want to do with it. If that's what you want to do, you are saving money because what else would you have done with that time? Watch TV, and you know you can do both at the same time. So yes and no, only because you can save money on your ingredients once the equipment's paid for and usage. You factor in the usage there. As long as if you value your time where you need to get more things done, then brewing will actually probably lose you money, I guess, if you look at it that way. Um, if you look at the way of like, well, I can still get this done, I can cook dinner at the same time, do all this and that, then you are saving money. Just make sure you focus on what kind of brewing you're doing and watch your time for the mash, watch your times for the hops, stuff like that. So yes, you can save money. This is a long-winded yes and no answer, but this is the two truths to the whole matter. It really depends on how much time you're going to spend on your brew day and what you can get done during it. That's what I find to be more productive by getting stuff done while brewing at the same time. Now, with all that being said, there's a lot. I still do it and I still save some money for it. I still really enjoy it. That's the biggest thing for me. So I will still keep doing it. And you do overall save money if you don't. I still make sure I have time for the kids during it. My one kid helps me stir in the grain, stuff like that. So it's still a labor of love, but there's still a time savings factor, or sorry, money savings factor there. Now, where you can really save money is getting a kegerator versus bottling a brew. Um, Kegerator versus buying buying beer off the shelf, though, is where you're really going to save money there. The reason being, you um, have it all there on tap. It's not taking up a bunch of space, and bottling takes forever. And I think I asked other brewers this before. What would you do if you couldn't keg your beer? They basically said I wouldn't be home brewing anymore. That's harsh, but it's kind of true. It's a big process. but that will save you a ton of time and kind of money in the long run too. Um, and especially if you have like one or two or three taps, or sorry, two or three taps versus just one, but that way you can kind of vary it up a little bit for yourself. Um, but long story short, yes, you can save money with home brewing. Just don't get all the fancy equipment. There's really not a huge need to lager your beers, especially when you first start out anyway, because you can, there's a Kolsch yeast, there's the, I forget what it's called now, but there's a yeast that is basically going to ferment at ale temperatures but give you lager qualities. So all that lager equipment, which is really expensive, then you're really spending some money. Um, that can be a bigger price factor to consider for more of the long term brewing. Um, but I would consider getting a kegerator to save time there. Um, it really isn't that bad to make one yourself. I've never done that before, but I did buy my kegerator. Um, but it saves me a ton of time versus bottling day. Which what does that look like? So instead of 4 hours, looking at 30 minutes. That's cleaning, sanitizing everything, and then running it through the line to make sure everything's good. And then you just set it up in the carbonation. 3 days later or 2 days later, it's ready to go. So if you want to talk more about the actual cost difference between home brewing and buying craft beer, um, you could really get down to the weeds. I started getting there a little bit. But overall, you are saving money. It just depends on how much time you have to devote to the hobby. Hope this helps. There's probably more too, but I was trying not to go too off on tangents there, but hope you enjoyed and please subscribe. Thanks. Cheers.